Hi, how's it in the name of Jesus Christ? How you doing? It's your girl, Cake Karabo. Hope you're good, peachy, stellar, and in a neat little bunch. What's up and what's good? So, I have a message to deliver. I am exhausted, okay, because I'm having to change my sleep cycle. I'm used to sleeping very, like, in the early hours of the morning and waking up a little later in the day. Because I am starting a new job, I have to change that so that I can wake up basically in the morning and go to bed at night like everybody else. And whoa, I feel jet lagged. Like, it's like I changed time zones, the way I'm so struggling to keep my eyes open because I was up in the early morning. It's just so rough. Anyway, so if I'm coming a little bit drabby, it's only because I'm experiencing the tantamount of jet lag, but we'll be cool. Alrighty guys, there's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. God is always doing quite a bit. And the devil is also always doing quite a bit, and so he's always just kind of doing strange stuff. And we have to warn about it because that's just the nature of the ministry. Yeah, it's what I do. Okay, so let's just get straight into it. Long story short, God's children, daughters in particular, are in danger. God's daughters are in shaky water. I can't really say that it's danger in the sense of we're facing death or whatever. I mean, that's been a thing with me. Gender-based violence is a problem, but by danger, I mean we're in danger of falling apart from unequal yoking and also reputational damage as a result of allowing ourselves to fall into relationships. In particular, let's just get straight into that, okay? Falling into relationships that are frankly disastrous, never mind disastrous, but humiliating and wrong to enter into because of what appears to be the repentance of men that then will try to pursue us. I got a dream and I'm gonna share it, but before we get into that dream, I just want to tell you two stories of what happened to me in the past to help set the tone for this particular chat session, that women might understand what's coming for them. God's daughters in particular. I'm speaking right now to God's daughters, no one else but God's daughters. This is not ubiquitously applicable to women who are in the world who don't know God. It is the godliness of these women that is especially relevant. So you have to have been, and for a very long time, you have to have been, and for a very long time, a child of God, a daughter of God. And you also have to have waited on the Lord for a while for a husband. And so you're single. I'm speaking in particular to single women in Christ that have been in Christ for a season, for a while. So a couple of years, right? And who have been single the whole time, waiting on God for husbands, yet to marry. I'm also speaking to those who largely are a little bit older, but in the sense that, like, you are past 30, you are past the age of 30, and so it is expected of you by the global citizenship of people that don't understand the importance of waiting on God and the glory of that. It is expected of you sometimes to settle because of your age. We, such ladies as those, are in a little bit of trouble, and it's not really that bad trouble if we exercise discretion. But it is trouble if there is no discretion, especially when you're looking at your biological clock ticking, time progressing, and it appearing that you're not going to get anywhere. This is what's going to be exploited. So let's just get straight into it. Okay, so when I was, to help you understand what's coming to us, all right, when I was maybe like 18 years old, I was dating this one dude from the Kasi, from Soweto. All right, I was in love with him. I already had big feelings for this guy. And one day I went to go and visit him. It was like a surprise visit. He stayed in Rockville, Soweto. I went to go and see him. I didn't let him know that I was going. I just went. I don't know what in the world was what I was thinking, but I went anyway to go and surprise my boyfriend. He was not the most faithful of guys, so I could have like walked into something dingy over there. I could have found him cheating. I could have found him, I don't know, like I decided to go and surprise visit my boyfriend. Okay, I get there. I knock on the door outside Kohabona by the gate, and the gate was like padlocked and everything, so I couldn't get in. And I'm just standing there outside, kind of frustrated. After all, I was unannounced, and I was facing the risk of having to take a taxi back home after that big chunky travel. I lived in the suburbs. He lived in Soweto, so yeah, double transport. I had to go through downtown Joburg and all that jazz. It would have been a total drag for me to go back home. I didn't wanna. So I just kind of sat around and hovered there for like 15 minutes or whatever, hoping that something was gonna give. All right, my boyfriend I was in matric. Okay, my boyfriend lived on the street where he lived. On the street where he lived, down the road, like just further down, his boy lived there. Okay, one of his friends lived in a house down the road from where he lived. In fact, a whole bunch of his friends lived on that same street, but the one that I encountered was this particular one. It's relevant, right? So the one dude that lived all the way down the road just walked out of Kohabona and saw me, on some Karabo, hey, what's up, and I'm like, hey, let's say his name was, let me give him a name, like Tsegofadzo. Yeah, I was like, hey Tsego, what's up? I'm here to see my boyfriend, and I've been outside gating Kohabona for a minute. I've been knocking, and nothing's giving. I don't think there's anybody home. Do you perhaps know where he's at? I could have called. Well, why didn't I call him on the cell phone? Let me think about it. I don't know. Maybe I didn't have it. I don't know. It just didn't dawn on me. Or maybe I didn't have. I could say I can't account for why I didn't call him, my boyfriend. That is. Maybe I eventually would have tried to call him, but at that stage I was just like knocking Kohabona. All right, his boy comes, and he's like, hey Karabo. I'm like, hey Tsego, I'm here to see my man, and he's like, not here, and Tsegofadzo then is like, oh well, that's a bummer. I don't really know where he's at either. Okay, was it a weekend? I can't recall. It definitely was not a school week. Maybe it could have been school holidays, but I was not bunking school. Was it a Saturday? I would never have gone there on a Saturday. I don't want to confabulate details here, but I went there during a time when it was feasible for me to go. That's what I'm getting at. But I also went there during a time when it was feasible for me to find him at home. So it couldn't have been weekend. So I think it might have been school holidays for me. Okay, cool. Whatever. Cool beans and bananas. I go, and this friend of his comes. He sees me. I greet him. I tell him my dilemma, my situation, my bunch that I am in. And I'm like, dude, your boy, I'm here to see him, and he's not here. Do you perhaps know what's going on? What's good? What's up and what's down? And he's like, Angaznam, I don't know either, right? But while you wait for him to come, maybe he's gonna be back a little bit later. You can come and wait with me, Gohesu, right? I can sort of kind of feed you juice and a sandwich or whatever while you wait. This is now, okay, I'm dating this dude now for over a year. Everybody knows me as Imediake, right? Everybody knows that I'm like his main chick, Imedi. Like, when you settle for rubbish in the world, a guy's like out here mixing you with 10 other girls, but everybody kind of knows that you're the main chick. Yeah, I was like his main chick. Everybody knew that he was my man, and we were serious as serious could get when you're 18 and the dude is like 21 or 22 or whatever. Okay, it's not really that serious, but it's serious. Okay, yeah, I'm known by every one of his boys as Imedi Ga. Let's say my boyfriend's name was Tay. Oh goodness, like me and coming up with all these names. Tay. Let's say my boyfriend's name was Tay. Yeah, everybody knew that I was with Tay, and I was with Tay for a year, and that I was Tay's midi, and including Tsegofadzo, of course. And we had partied a lot with Tsegofadzo in the past. We had hung out a lot with Tsegofadzo. I knew Tsegofadzo as one of Tay's close boys. Okay, yeah, Tsegofadzo as well. Tsegofadzo, who's the dude that I now was chatting with outside of the gate, Gabote was at some point, but not at this particular juncture, not right then, right? He was dating my cousin. He, like, if anything, I'm like, when I started dating Tay, my cousin was with this dude. But since a whole year had progressed, my cousin and Tsegofadzo had broken up. But I was the one that kind of stuck around, right? I stayed with Tay while my girls moved on to be with other people. Yeah. that's the context, that's the scenario. So with Tshegofatso having been with my girl, having been with my cousin / girl, and with me being with Tay, I was like, of course, trusting of Tshegofatso's intention. I didn't see any ulterior motive or funny vibes. I literally did not imagine that anything could ever be imagined or feasibly happened upon in the mindset of Tshegofatso to try anything with me. It just didn't dawn on me that way. Maybe I was naive. Maybe I was 18. I don't know. And so because I was 18, impressionable much, I don't know. Tay's like, let's go, not Tay, but Tshegofatso's like, let's go wait at my house. And I'm like, okay, this guy knows that I'm here to see my boyfriend. He knows who my boyfriend is. He wouldn't, there's no funny business here. Absolutely not. Why would he want to be so taboo? When you learn lessons as you get older, how guys operate, how men function. You learn them the hard way, and if you are not wise as a woman, if you are not smart as a cheeky, man, you're gonna find yourself reputationally ransacked. Do you understand? Anyway, cool. So I go to Tay's place, not Tay's, Tshegofatso, that's the guy right from down the road. I go with Tshegofatso to go and wait to see my boyfriend. Understand, I am besotted with my guy, right? I really love my boyfriend. I'm besotted with my boyfriend. I think he's the best thing since sliced bread. I've already envisioned in my mind what our children are gonna look like. All that jazz. I love this guy. I would never do anything dingy against him of this nature. But anyway, I go to Tshegofatso's house, and first time I enter the yard, I go to Tshegofatso. I'd never been there. He was not my man, and it's just a regular house in Soweto, and offers me some oros or whatever. I be out drinking some oros, and then next thing, Tshegofatso's out give me a house tour, and I'm like, I don't need a house tour. I'm sitting in the lounge area of your house, but I don't want to be rude. Plus, I was extremely shy when I was young. Right, I didn't talk much, and I was I never raised my concerns about anything. I just kind of went with the flow, rode with the wave. So when he was like, let me show you my house, the rest of my house, his parents were not home at the time. I was like, ugh, it felt some kind of way to me, but I was just like, whatever. House tour. It was not even like a mansion sufficient enough to, I guess, deserve or warrant a house tour. It's not like we were actually gonna go be viewing a swimming pool and like a tennis court and like a servant's quarters. It was just a regular 2-3 bedroom house in Makasi. But this guy wanted to give me a tour. Fine. I'm like, okay, fine, show me the tour. And of course, I was not touring his house. I never got to see his parents' room. I never got to see even the bathroom. Yagibo. He was not giving me a home tour. He was giving me his bedroom tour. He took me to his bedroom, and he was like, this is where I sleep. I'm like, good. I'm glad to see that you've got a comfortable environment on which to lay your head at night. Even the son of man did not have a place to put his head on at night, though foxes have dens and wool. You do get my point. Yeah, okay, so I didn't quote scripture. But I basically was like, congratulations, you have a bed. But at this stage already my antenna is out there. Okay, tiki when's lo muntu. I thoroughly understood that he's trying to seduce me. I knew straight away that that's what he was trying to do. So I kind of stayed at the door of his bedroom, and I was like, nice bedroom, nice. It's neat for a guy, you're very neat for a boy. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like shuffling in my body, very, very uncomfortably on some cool, and I was so overtly, awkwardly uncomfortable with what was going on right there that he sort of kind of caught on. He at least quickly realized that, okay, Karabo's not gonna do this. He was trying to get me to go in his bedroom and him seduce me, see if he can't sleep with me. Yeah, okay, he was trying that. All right, he was trying it. Oh, see, I had drunk maybe a quarter of it as Ankai Feta. At which point I was like, perhaps we should just go and check Ahore Uteng na Tay, as he arrived. Is he back now from wherever he was at? I think we've waited long enough. At which point he's like, yeah, sure, yeah. And then we leave, right, his house. The air outside was so super fresh. It was fresh before, but this time it was extra fresh because I was feeling clouds of lust in that house when I was in there. This dude was out here trying to hit that. I'm a daughter, guys. I was watching a TikTok yesterday. not yesterday, but day before yesterday, and this chick, she cracked me up. Beautiful little yellow bone, looking like a nompopi, with a face beat for days. And she's like, wait, see, she was baby girl. She's like, banna batla go ira Popeye. Banna batla go sia ole dry. Batla go ira nompopi wa nkutla. Banna batla go lematsa mara bo girl. Basadi bona ke bona ba utlisanang botlhoko. Motho a feelang ka re yana madi a gagwe le a gago ga a kopane. For eng? Ke a tlhaloganya gore banna ba ka go ira Popeye mara basadi ha ba ratane. Right? So basically she was complaining that men can make a cartoon out of you. They can make you a cartoon. They can make out of you a Popeye, all right? And they can leave you dry and high. But women, you got this problem in that sometimes you meet a girl that you don't know from a bar of soap, and yet you will say stuff like she doesn't gel with me. I was laughing at her when she would not at her, but at the way that she communicated that, and indeed I was in agreement with her. And right now I am appealing to the segment of her lament on TikTok about how it is that banna batla go ira Popeye. Like, men will make women cartoons. Men will make yala Popeyes. They will literally batla go ira Popeye. They will make you a cartoon. But so how you don't become a cartoon as a woman is to basically where you have to make a decision that you're not gonna let yourself be Popeye, because labantu abenandaba. Sometimes they just don't care that they can make a fool out of you as a woman, and it's unfortunate that these lessons sometimes you learn them having made some big mistakes, okay, as a young girl, and having been disreputed by these people. Abayenza abogel Popeye. It's unfortunate, but thankfully I was smart enough, I was wise enough to see this for what it was, coupled with the fact that I was just absolutely enamored with my boyfriend, Mingimtanda, and I was not trying to mess with any of that. Plus, who in the world wants to go and give themselves a reputation in Jalo? What girl in their right mind sleeps with their man's friend? I mean, it was during the day. Do you understand? Kabo, like 1:12 p.m. There's nobody here drinking Hunter's Dry and Amstel and Savannah. There's nobody here high on Zol, like proper sober. Everybody was sober during the week, 12 p.m. And here's a man trying to make me a Popeye. Kill is sober, guys. Like, he's sober, I'm sober. And for whatever reason, he was prepared to mess with a relationship with his boy just to get what he wants out of me, right? He had a friend in Pinjake. They'd been kids growing up together, went to the same high school. They were friends, close ones at that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And this dude appeared to be prepared to throw all that away. But was he really prepared to throw his friendship with his boy away? That's the thing that later on, as a woman, as I got older, I discovered that the Popeye is always just the woman, never the men. No matter how much they basically go over rules, like no matter how much they break code, the Popeye is always the woman. But I would only come to learn that later. At this particular juncture, I'm thinking that this dude is trying to destroy his relationship with his friend and disrepute me. But like I said, as I would get older, I came to learn that he was never gonna lose his friend if I had settled. The two of them were never gonna have a falling out. If I had settled, I was gonna be the Popeye. The two of them were gonna go into the sunset together and still be friends. But I was going to be like Popeye Cherry that slept with my boy Karabo. That's what they were gonna stay friends, but I was going to be disreputed. It was not going to be a whole spree of blaming everyone that participated in the mutiny against my boyfriend. It was only going to be one half of the mutineers, and the half that would have been blamed is the woman. The girl, the female in the equation was going to be the Popeye. Yeah, I only learned that later in life, but I'm getting to a point about the dangers that are coming right now, right? So this is what's good. This man, this dude, this boy, well, he was a man already at that stage. He was past his 18th birthday. I was 17 going on 18, so whatever. I was gonna be lambasted, slathered. Strata Seleka Ofela sa Korokville was going to know my name as the harlot of tomorrow. And the next day, and even yesterday, it was going to be my name that was dragged through the mud. All right. And this dude was prepared to seduce me successfully And then thereafter, what in the world? Like, what was going to happen, right? So we leave his house. I go out in the sun and the air is just so breezy because it was all cloudy in the house with this guy's crazy lust. And I went home because I was not there for 15 minutes, guys. It was not even how long I was there for, right? At that guy's house. I was going to wait for even an hour for my boyfriend to come. But then I realized, so I left and I hoped that my boyfriend would be there. Now, after this 15 minutes, he wasn't. And so this like dude that wanted to make me a cartoon then coupled me to the taxis. I got on a cab and I went back home. So I went back the way that I didn't want to. Double transport to get to Rockville, double transport to get back to Alberton. That's where I used to live at the time, in Alberton. Yeah, okay, cool. I went back home and then my boyfriend calls me later. And the tone in my boyfriend's voice, you could tell that it's like he was proud of me. What the heck? Like, my boyfriend calls me, he's like, baby, sweetie, no leteng ikajeko, you came. Aski sine azangwang tolerona osa phone. I was like, babe, sweetie, I heard you came to see me today. I'm sorry that you didn't find me, but why didn't you call King? You wanted to surprise me. He was cool, right? And then he's like, his boy, right? So Tay is now talking about Tsegofatso. He's like, Tsegofatso told me that you came. Yeah, and that you went Wayoploma at his house for waiting for me for a couple of minutes, and I wasn't there. I was like, yeah, I did that. He was like, yeah, okay, cool. That you could tell that he was excited and glad that I was a good girl and I did not do anything with his boy. You could tell in the tone of his voice that him and his boy actually spoke about it. He said, your girlfriend was here. Likely because his boy knew that I would tell him. Your girlfriend was here, she was looking for you. I saw her and she came and waited for you, Kontlum. And then my boyfriend was probably like, Karabo at your house. You invited Karabo to your house. What the heck, dude? Why would you invite my girl to your place, to your house? And then he probably was like, blah, Marnex, your girl is a good girl. She didn't do anything with me. She never would. She was like, yeah, the way Karabo lenga thing. And my boyfriend, when he spoke to me on the phone later that evening, he sounded happy that I kept myself in a bunch. It's like, was I in a test? Was I in a Hunger Games arena? What was I going through some kind of test that I did not sign up to write? Like, I didn't study for it. Is that what? As in, my boyfriend Archer speaking with me on the phone with a jubilant tone in his voice along the lines of, I'm proud of my girl because my girl don't do strange stuff. My girl is not a harlot. My girl does not sleep around. My baby is loyal to me. And that made him happy and proud. That made him glad. Do you understand? That made him glad. Enough to sort of kind of low-key almost put a star on my forehead like a little child in school that has, performed on the spelling test. He'd like, yeah. When I put the phone down, I was chuffed too with myself, but at the back, because I'm 18, I'm all impressionable, but at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, like, what would have happened if I had kissed the guy or allowed myself to fall apart? You see, it's like, okay, I asked myself, what in the world, like Eve, right? Eve of the Bible, Adam's wife. It is written of her after Adam and Eve fall, right? The judgment on Eve was that from now on your desire will be for your husband. And I always like to say that judgment on Eve, essentially that judgment on women, is that we are so going to long after the affection of men that we will literally do anything to get it. And so any man that's out here trying to vie for the position of loving you, sometimes you will just take it at all, even if it's coming through a man that frankly you ought reject. Like, you should not be with this person, but insofar as they're offering you any kind of adoration and jefela, pampering, stroking of your cheek, you're just running with it. Women get reduced to harlots sometimes because enough men promise to love them. And then when these men don't, by the time they look at their rap sheets, they've been with like 4 of them. They've dated like a couple of them, sometimes even in the same crew of guys, all in the pursuit of love. But men will never ever forget, if at all you have already been with one of their boys. they're just never gonna forget. Okay, that's just not the way that men are wired. But we as women sometimes feel like it is feasible for us to be with the next dude that's out here going to love you, right? Like proper, the next dude that's hebatung. There is a song, yeah, Beyonce called If you let him take me from you, I guess I'll finally see. You know that song? One of the lyrics of the song is that even one of your boys tried to get with me, but I said no because I wanted to be with you. And Beyonce's trying to make it sound like that's okay in that song. Beyonce's out here trying to make it appear as if though your boy is asking me out because your boy sees that you're not loving me properly. If you let him take me from you, I guess I'll finally see. If you let Papa, she's saying that if you let your man, your boy, your friend take me from you, I'll see that you never really wanted me. But why would you ever consider the pursuit of your person as a woman by a man that is your boy's man? Why would you disquiet yourself so much? Why would you put yourself in a position to have been with two guys in the same crew of friends? And yet this stuff happens all the time with women. It happens all the time. Like they properly think that they can be loved better in another corner of the same crew of guys, and it always renders them harlots. It literally never ends well. Sometimes it can. It can. And there is a woman that I know of in the past where it worked out, but she is the exception. She is the exception. She is the exception. She is not the norm. Let me open this door even more to bring in more air because I got to overheat. Yeah, she is the exception and not the norm. All right. The if song, yeah, Beyonce just cannot apply. Eve, because her judgment, or let me rather just blanketly say women, because our judgment is to essentially so salivate and grovel after the affection of men. We are always in danger of allowing ourselves to be courted, dated, pursued, fraternized with by men that frankly we ought say no to, just purely based on history, just purely based on where they come from, who they know, because literally it always ends badly for the woman. It's always the woman that is given a bad blow reputationally. It's that basic. It's sad. The guys always stay friends. They have this like ugly saying that bros before, you know the other word, I'm not gonna say it, in my ministry. And so they have each other's backs even when women do them dirty. They have each other's backs in a way that we don't have each other's backs, and in a way that we don't have our own backs, our own individual unique backs. So we are expected to be hyper moral, super consecrated to loyalty in light of one particular guy, while they're not expected the same thing out of, which is why it also sucks even more for us to cheat than for them. Like our rap sheet is literally always worse. It's always worse, even though really frankly the same crimes, the same misdemeanors have been committed. The woman will always be the one that's slathered with the worst reputation yet. Okay, so that was my first ever experience of a dude literally stepping on the toes of his boy, like frankly just disinterested in the potential ramifications. First time my man's boy thoroughly made a pass at me. It was my first experience. I was 18. Okay, I was 18 years old, and thank God I passed the test. A test that I didn't even know I was writing. An exam I didn't even know I was in. I passed it to a point of my boyfriend low-key congratulating me in a way that I could tell that's exactly what he was doing when he spoke to me later that evening. This man that did like his boy the perpetrator in this regard, for the life of me, like he is a archetype of many kinds of men out there willing to, or at least it appears they're willing to risk a relationship with their friends, their male friends, just to get what they want from a woman. I don't believe that there is malicious intent at the very heart of it against them, their friend. I don't believe that they are actively thinking to hurt their boy. They are just trying to get what they want. They just want their bread buttered on both sides. They just want to have fun. They want to enjoy themselves. Men are absent of being refined by Jesus, inherently kind of polygamistic. So they just want to see where they can land, park their car, and chill. And if a woman will let it happen, cool. And men have this thing that may the best man win. They thoroughly let that happen. They tell themselves, may the best man win. And so if the best man wins the woman that was once the other guy's woman, it's like, okay, you took my girl. Yes, they can't go to extreme war out of jealousy for a woman, but the woman is always going to be the one that really is dealt the biggest blow. The biggest blow. This dude was prepared to risk his relationship with his friend because he wasn't thinking about his relationship with his friend. He was thinking rather about sleeping with me. So he was not maliciously trying to hurt his boy. He was just greedily trying to sleep with me. It was a rapacity for me and not so much a malicious intent against his friend. That's how they are wired. It's weird like that. Like to him, it was not umngani wami uzongiyenzani. It was mina ngiyafuna lento and that's it. Okay, so I passed a test I didn't even know I was literally in. I was in a Hunger Games arena and I won. I won unbeknownst to myself. Yet another story. The same crew of friends. So you can understand that guys don't ever ditch each other when women do them dirty. The women are the ones that are facing reputational damage, and in the rare occasion, the woman may be so loved by the man that over protected from being written off as a harlot or whatever. So essentially what rescues or salvages a woman that allows themselves to do that, a woman that is like Beyonce in that song, what salvages her is if the guy that takes the girl from the other guy so loves this woman that he overwhelms the reputational damage of this girl, overwhelms the reviling of her name, like all the nasty things that can be said in the street corners about her. He just says, I don't care, I love her. If a man says, I don't care, I love her, that's the thing that simmers down. The slaps on this chick's face of reputational damage and people calling her a harlot. So essentially when a woman makes a decision to take a risk to end up with a guy that is one of her ex's friends, the only thing that simmers down that blow on her is if this new guy takes her super seriously. But that, like I said, is the exception. It's not the norm. It is the exception. It is not the norm. The great majority of women, after they have experimented and played musical chairs with another guy in the same crew of friends, they're done for. They're done for. They're regarded as a harlot and they don't recover. Out of 10 women doing this, 8 plunge into the vortex of irrecoverable reputational damage. They literally have to leave town and date in a brand spanking new country for the people in that country to not look at her some kind of way. She has got to move for her to start again from scratch. And the only thing that salvages her from that move is if a guy decides to be so serious with her that he will disregard everybody's nasty say until people shut up. But mostly they don't happen that way. And there was a girl in that same crew of people that we knew that was the exception. I've known in totality in my life 3, including my ex-boyfriend, 3 exceptions. 3, and by ex-boyfriend I mean somebody that he ended up with, not so much me. 3, I've known out of all the plethora of women that I could ever know. All the plethora of women that I could have ever known in my life, and trust me, there are many. Yeah, I've only ever known 3 women that prospered to be in the top 2%. Yeah, in the top 20%. The women that are the 2 out of the 10. Yeah, I've only ever known 3. The first one that I met was right then when we were still all kids, right? And she was one of the girlfriends, or she was the girlfriend of one of my boys. She was the girlfriend of one of my boys, and her ex-boyfriend was my ex. Not my ex, my then boyfriend. The guy that I was dating, Tay. Yeah, Tay was the first. This chick dated Tay in high school, and the next, literally, it was just so taboo and so bizarre. The story was just so bizarre. His boy, my Tay's next door, like literally next door neighbor, boy, right? Tay's next door neighbor, his friend who lived right next door to Habona, Lakeview, right? He stole Tay's Medi. Like, my Tay was in love with this girl, and the 2 of them were together, and the next door neighbor and friend, they were friends, took her. Like, they cheated on Tay with each other, fell in love. It was initially very taboo, but it was what it was. This dude fell head over heels in love with Tay's girl, stole her. The fire was, ravenous. It went through the forest and then it was snuffed out. And when the fire stopped burning, this chick was now Imedi. She was now the main chick and the beloved lady of Tay's boy that lived next door. By the time I came into the picture, it was years down the line, right? Because remember, this guy's like 4 years older than me. I'm like 18, he's like 24, 23. 20, I'm 18, he's like 22. And when they were in high school, how many years ago is that? Like when you were like 16, 17, like that was many moons ago. You know, basically I think I was in primary school when they were busy, this little mess. I was still in primary school and yet to meet them. So it would be years that would progress. And by the time I came into, and this chick was their age, like they were in the same grade, right? Yeah, type setup thing. By the time I came into the picture, Tay and this chick were long broken up, right? And this chick and the next door neighbor boy were already together years, like many, many years. He stole, from what I understood, literally this chick was like Tay's first love or something. And thingy took her. Who is this? The next door neighbor guy took her. His boy, the next door neighbor, let's say his name was Tepo. Utepo. Let's say her name was Mbali. Yeah, Tay was dating Mbali first and he fell in love with her. And then Tepo was like, him and Mbali had a secret affair. They fell in love and it became a whole sad story. Tay's heart got broken, and then Mbali was made an honest woman because this dude made a decision to stay with her, and she was known as Imedia Kona, and they were together by the time I came into the picture 4 years. They had been together for years. So essentially what happened, and it's water under the bridge. The way that my then boyfriend, Tay, was so tight with Tepo, you would never know that Tepo stole his girl. You would literally never know. You would never know. You would never know that Tepo stole Tay's girl because of how tight they were. How they used to always just visit each other. It's like he was not bearing any grudges. And that's the way that men are. Banjalo. Like, you steal a guy's girl, and it's literally like water under the bridge, just like that. It's water under the bridge. Hey, women, you are playing with dangerous fire when you allow yourselves to play musical chairs with men because they recover, you don't. Largely, you don't. For the 20% of the time, you just don't recover. The men, however, are the ones that keep riding it out with each other. They got each other. Men got each other, yo. They got each other in a way that women just don't. So don't allow yourself to be messed up in that situation. Like, if you are with a guy in a crew of dudes, everybody will literally, for the rest of your lives, all the way into the deep future, be off limits. Like, just proper, realize, in other words, make sure that you've chosen the right guy. When you meet a crew of guys, make sure you've chosen the right one, because there's no remakes. You don't get to date his friend. You just don't. And it is literally at your peril. Then again, recreational dating, y'all shouldn't be doing anything of that nature. If you don't recreationally date and you give your lives to Christ, you wouldn't have these problems. But I'm trying to warn Christian women of this thing that is coming, even to their doorsteps. We are godly. We are righteous. We're consecrated. And yet there is like a whole satanic strategy to make out of us reputationally damaged females that allowed ourselves to consider being with off-limits guys because of how much they want to claim that they love Christ now. I'm getting into a point at this juncture. This situation, Yate, Mbali, and Tepo, okay? Yeah, I saw a repeat of it later when I was dating my ex-boyfriend, the dude that I was with for very many years, for 5 years. He had a friend who had a Mbali for a girlfriend. Right? He had a friend who had Mbali for a girlfriend, and Mbali was apparently all over the show. The reason why she was not particularly favored by the dudes is because she had been with more than one already, guys in the same crew of friends. She had dated more than one of these dudes. This is an era in women's lives. Like, they just do it. And if you're a woman listening to this, if you've done it, you need to stop. Where it is that you're just so hungry for love, you're seeking that validation and that love, for a man to love you. Because from now on, our desire will be for our husbands. So we're gonna long for love to a point where if a man wants to offer it, we're just gonna fall and melt under the insistence, the suggestion. We're gonna melt and fall under the fact that he's basically petitioning. He has sent a CV out to love you. With men having such a hard time loving us properly, when another one rocks up and claims to be in a position to love you better, out here singing you Mario's song, baby let me love you, be the one, yeah, and he's on some baby I just don't get it, do you enjoy being hurt, I know you smell the perfume, the makeup on his shirt, yeah. Maybe that can apply with a guy that this dude does not know from a bar of soap. But if the dude that is busy hurting you in front of some other dudes is the person, the dude's friend. If the man that's like, baby, let me love you, is one of your current lovers or boyfriend's friends, do not fall for the baby, I just don't get it. Do you enjoy being hurt? I know you smell the perfume, because a lot of times they tend to ask, but are you happy? They tend to be like, but I can love you better. They tend to be like, but I can have your back. I see that this dude is not loving you the way that you need to be loved. I can love you. And that is such a hook for women, to a point where Beyonce Arjun wrote a song, if you let him take me from you, girl. Like, what are you doing with your boy's man? Like, what? Like, don't even take his calls. Like, don't humor it. Don't let him like think that he can feasibly like make you sit on his bed since he's giving you a house tour of his bedroom. Like, don't. Anyway, yeah, this chick, the one with my ex-boyfriend, right? She had been with multiple guys in the same crew of friends. Like, people in this world are fornicators, right? So it's not a big deal when a woman has slept with 10 guys or 20. Don't nobody care about these body counts anymore, right? Just insofar as it's 20 guys from 20 different countries, or 20 guys from 20 different provinces, 20 different villages, 20 different cities, 20 different schools. Like, they cannot be in the same school. You will not be called a harlot if you have slept with 20 guys that don't know each other. But you are going to be called a harlot if you have slept with 2 guys that do. And the first dude that you slept with was you were a virgin. You will thoroughly... that's how harlotry is awarded a woman. Sometimes, right? Sometimes it's just because we're busy. This girl, she's a village bicycle. Yeah, so if at all you have only been with 3 guys in your... And I say only because according to the standards of this world, it's called only when you've been with 3 guys. But frankly, according to God, it's too many. All right, too many. You are supposed to be with just 1 guy for all of your days, and that's it. Your husband, yeah, that's how it should be. But according to the standards of this world, when you have slept with under 5 men, you are practically a virgin. So if you have been with, by the standards of this world, only 1 guy, yeah, or not 1 guy, sorry, only 3. If you, by the standards of this world, have been with only 3 guys, and all 3 guys know each other, you're done for. You're done for. Even though you've got girls in your crew of friends that have been with 20 dudes before they reach the age of 20, you are the one that's going to be looked at like you ain't got no scruples, you ain't got no morals. You know, like it does not work. It does not work. Like, even in the slightest, and it never will work even in the context of Christianity and converting now over to Jesus Christ. This message is to warn Christian women of what's coming to our doorsteps. The devil loves to disrepute saints, and if he can discredit your witness, if he can discredit your testimony, then he will do it. We overcome the devil, is written in God's word, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So if your testimony can be disreputed, then you are frankly unbelievable, and nobody's going to take you too seriously. So if you rock up out here flailing a ring from a dude, or flailing a courtship from a man that is your ex's boy, or you've been with 2 other guys that know this dude, it's not going to bode well for you. Because you are going to be defiled in your reputation by the streets. They are going to drag your name through the mud on some lomuntu agena maitse, or she has no scruples. She has been everywhere with the same crew of guys. You are going to be called incontinent, essentially. Even as a Christian woman, the devil is trying to revile our names that way. This chickie, the one that my ex-boyfriend's was my ex-boyfriend's friend. All right, my ex-boyfriend's friend's girlfriend. Yeah, she had been with a few guys in the same crew of guys, right? Having grown up in the south of Johannesburg, she dated a few guys that knew each other from down the road because she was in that neighborhood. It was her hood. And she dated dudes from her hood. And my ex-boyfriend, all the way up until we broke up, had nothing good to say about that chick. He had nothing good to say about her. Understand that despite my ex having nothing good to say about that woman, the guy, let's say the guy's name was, oh goodness, Muzi, all right? Yeah, the Umuzi guys loved this woman so much that he, like, you know, men will out here leave you out on their social media. They will pretend like a wuko. Don't nobody know Kimang Media Tepo on social media, yet he's got one. You know that you are beloved of a man when he's out here flailing you on social media. I did not know many guys that were happy to go and flail and front and floss their girls on social media, and this dude was one of them. He would upload photos of just her. Profile pic is her. This guy was so besotted with this chick that it was frankly irresponsible for anybody at all to speak anything negative about her. He loved her and he eventually married her. He eventually made a wife out of her, right? But all the way, even literally at the time of them getting married, all the way up until my ex and I broke up, boyfriend yam had nothing good to say about this chick. My boyfriend did not like this chick because according to him, she was a harlot. According to him, she was a girl about these streets. Because he had experience of her playing musical chairs between a couple of guys in his crew, and then next thing, this dude is trying to make an honest woman out of her. He's trying to make an honest woman out of her. And he told me that at the beginning of their relationship, all of the boys basically staged an intervention for him on some boy. You can't be with this woman. She's been with this and that and that and the other. No, there's too many of them. Boy. Like Papa, about to have had your chick. They've gone in there. How are you gonna make that serious? I mean, make like all the other dudes. Hit it and quit it. Drive-by shooting. Don't stay. Like, why are you staying? And this dude was like, Mina yamtanda. He stuck to his guns and was like, Mina yamtanda. As a result, this chick's reputation over the years simmered down. So that which was people's opinions about her is simmered down. People just kind of got over it. They overcame their biases concerning her. They stopped being uneasy in some kind of way. But low-key, deep down inside, still, even the women in the 20th percentile, in the top 20%, the ones that do get taken seriously by the guys, even if Abantu eventually shut up, bottom line is sentiments will still ruminate in certain people's hearts, just as that sentiment ruminated in my ex-boyfriend's heart. My boyfriend, ex now, but at the time he was my boyfriend, he never softened up to her. He never buttered. He was never buttered up by the fact that this dude now was taking her seriously. So in some people's eyes, you will always be the harlot. Norma, uba, this guy's wife, and you become the baby mama, and now you're the mom of these children. Some people will always just look at you as, how's this chick? She's been with like 3 other guys in the same crew of boys. Some people will just never forgive that way. Some people will just never forgive, just like my ex-boyfriend never forgave. He never forgave even though this dude made her serious. Yeah, that was that whole scenario, right? That situation. It's funny, ironically, the same thing happened. My ex-boyfriend and I, he ended up with somebody that was like that, you know, properly people would out here be staging interventions to a point where I even got a dream one time of one of his boys trying to get me to get back together with him in order for him to basically not go through with marrying this other woman. But by then I was already done, and I was not trying to go back there. So the same bug came and bit him, and he couldn't even see it for what it was. All right, the same bug came to bite him, and he couldn't even see it for what it was. But what I'm trying to explain is that umfazi, you don't play musical chairs. You don't. You don't. And it does not matter what circumstances might have changed, how many years might have progressed. You won't recover from an era of that nature. You are just not going to recover. And God is sending me a stark warning, Langudra, to some females out here in these streets, women in Christ, to not fall for this trick, this trap, because something big is going on that the devil is attempting to achieve. I keep saying we're at the end of days, and the thwarting of the gospel of true biblical Christianity is going to be a whole satanic strategy in order that the great apostasy might happen and that people might not know or have sound enough examples to look at in Christianity of what makes for a godly life. And the devil has many, many such strategies with which he is attempting to achieve. Never mind apostasy from Christianity, but also the disreputing of Christians, the taking away of credibility from true Christians through multiple strategies. Like, yeah, it's all in the interest of tapering down biblical Christianity. That's what I'm getting at. Tapering it down. Okay. Very well. Now that you've gotten that, there's another story that also happened to me. All right. Remember there was the friend of my boy that wanted to like hit that, and I was like, no, like what in the world is going on? Later on in life, it would then happen with like these guys have got no scruples. And remember this dude Usehofazo, right? He not only was my boyfriend's friend, but he was also my cousin's ex. So I would have literally had a falling out with my cousin alongside my boyfriend, and I would never have been trusted again amidst that crew of people. That's what this dude was prepared to squander, and it would be my own discretion applied in the situation that rescued me. So if a woman does not be the one, if a woman does not make herself the one to have the discretion, you will be squandered. You will just be squandered as mfazi. Do you understand? Ain't nobody gonna out be trying to protect your reputation yako. You are responsible for your own reputation. as a woman. Yeah, okay, cool beans and bananas. Now, that was a cousin. And I met that guy through that cousin. My cousin is my cousin, but she's still not my sister. I had a boyfriend, not boyfriend, not present sitting boyfriend, but an ex-boyfriend of, yo, when I was dating my ex newly, like he was fresh in my life, right? He could have like come to 2 months nyana. We were newly excited, rejuishaka each other. All right. My older sister left me with her apartment. She went overseas for something, a trip over the holidays. I don't know what was going on. Right, with her, I believe, like boyfriend at the time. Yeah, they were living it up, painting the town red, and she left me with her apartment. Of course, I didn't have my own place, so I was excited to have my own apartment, and it was like what? Yeah, I was happy. But when my sister was going to the airport, right? She had this ex-boyfriend. Yazi, what's your ex-boyfriend doing in your life in front of a present boyfriend? It's like my ex-boyfriend hanging out with me and my new boyfriend. When's go home? Like anyway, I guess my sister's more mature than me. I would never keep an ex around, especially not around my new guy, but she was cordial. Their breakup was cordial. It was mature enough for them to be friends, right? And my sister's boyfriend at the time knew that this guy was my sister's ex, and yet somehow was unfazed by all of his presence in my sister's life. Anyway, whatever. Okay, cool beans and bananas. And so much so was this guy a reliable friend to my sister, right? So much so was this Ogie a reliable friend to my sister that when they were going on this holiday with her boyfriend, he was the one that was called in a favor with to drive them to the airport. He was the one that was called in a favor with to drive them to the airport. And remember, I'm gonna be the one to take care of my sister's apartment. So obviously I was there on the day of their departure, and obviously why not see my sister off? You know what I mean? Like, why not go to the airport and see my sister off? And then this guy promised to would then drop me off back at my sister's apartment. I didn't have my own car, but my sister did leave me with her keys to her car. I did have a driver's license though, but of course we're not going to use 2 cars, right? So we went with this dude in his vehicle, and my sister should have just asked me, frankly. I could have driven her and her man to the airport and come back, because I had her gets. I had a car. It was like a Hyundai Gets. I had her car. Why did she insist on this ex-boyfriend? My sister. He was a trespasser. He was a trespasser. Anyway, whatever. This trespassing ex-boyfriend is the one that's called in a favor with, right? And so I, tag along with them when they're going to the airport, because we're dropping my sister off. And I'm going to stay at her apartment for the duration of her holiday. I'm going to be staying at my sister's apartment for the duration of her holiday, so why not see them off too? So en route to the airport, it's my sister, her boyfriend, me, and this dude. We're in the car, music is going, we're happy, and I'm on the phone texting my new boyfriend. I'm so in love, right? Yeah. Whatever. We go to the airport. Hello, goodbyes happen. Hug some people. Wave as they are going to the check-in terminals. And then I go back home, of course, with this dude, this ex. Yeah, we get my sister. And I'm like having just a regular conversation. Yeah, okay, wow, okay, we're gonna miss them, but it's cool. They're coming back very soon. Yeah, but on the drive back home, y'all, that drive from OR Tambo to Morningside felt like a drive through the garden route, en route Cape Town from Johannesburg. It was long. It was so long. Why was it made long? Because this dude was shellering me. He was on some, what are you doing? Maybe we should go and grab drinks. Yeah. This dude, he was with my sister when I was in high school. When he met me, I was out here, I was in school uniform. Yeah, right? I remembered him from that time. Hello, Johnny boy. Yeah, good. And he's like, you've grown to be a beautiful young woman. Gnashing teeth as this dude is speaking. He's talking about how music, soul child. Girl, I am so surprised to see the young fine woman that you grew up to be. Your body's banging like a 300. Yeah, he was 5 seconds away from singing me that song, telling me about how it is that last time he saw me I was just 17 and now I am all grown. This man is so much older than me that he's the age of Connie Ferguson. He's Connie Ferguson's age. Yeah, he's Connie Ferguson's age. Yeah, he's that old. My sister dated a much older dude. My older sister is only older than me by 2 years. She dated this guy when she was in and of herself quite young. Okay, and it was like, it's your choice. You get to, you're an adult. Do you, sister girl? Do you? Right? Yeah. So, however, I've never been, into Abu Kesha. I had never been into Abu Putmatlis. I'd never liked older guys because, like, stay in your lane, like, go date Abu Kriza and Jenga.